Hey guys, what is up? Fig Nukin here with a top 10 video today, but not like a clickbaity top 10. This is going to be my top 10 favorite rock records that I own, which is basically most of my top 10 favorite records, or rock albums, sorry, um, overall. But I just say records I own just in case I forgot one. So starting off this list, we're going to start with a classic by Uriah Heep. It's called Demons and Wizards. It came out, I believe, in I might be a mistake for this one. I don't know. Came out in '72. Okay, sorry for my confusion there. This album is great. Other than I'd say the packaging, which is a little weird because the vinyl comes out of a sleeve in here, but there's multiple pages, which is kind of annoying because I feel like that's the way to sleeve messed up, but it works. The songs, The Wizard, that is a first of all a great song. It's just it got a lot of emotion in it, and it's a very like one of those fantasy songs that like it just hits you hard. That's the only way I think I can put it. Traveler in Time starts out really hard. It's got some nice electronic noise in it. Really good. Easy Living, of course, is a classic. You got Poet's Justice, a really good song. Circle Hands, another really good. Rainbow Demon, pretty good. All My Life is, I'd say, the weakest link on this album. And then Paradise the Spell, and really good. They're two different songs, but mashed together, I mean, they're still pretty good. Alright, now we're going to go to the next. Alright, now on to my number 9. We got Styx, The Grand Illusion, which came out in 1977, released on the A&M record label. It's pretty good. Pretty good record. One thing I really like actually about this record in particular is, and most A&M labeled records, is how the A&M kind of morphs with the record. Hopefully you can see that. I accidentally touched it, which kind of sucks, and that was probably a fingerprint on it. But just have to live. This is more of a rough copy anyway. I do want to get eventually a better one. But yeah, the tracks on this are The Grand Illusion to start, a really good opening track for an album. And then you have the not The Grand Illusion twice. Fooling Yourself, a really good, like, it's kind of like a really 70s song for the 70s album. It's kind of the start of really like more poppy Styx, which is good and bad because some of the earlier proggy stuff is really good too. Superstars, another great song. Come Sail Away, of course, is a classic. Great piano, very kind of seeming emotional song. And then you got Miss America, which is very good. More rocky than some of the other songs on this. Man in the Wilderness, really good, kind of proggy song about loneliness. Then you got Castle Walls, a great kind of epic of a song. I really like it. It's kind of like The Wizard, where it's that kind of great fantasy sounding song. And then you got the grand finale, which is kind of just a great wrap up for the album. And was my number 9. Hey guys, sorry about that. My dog was barking, and also I wanted to fix the lighting a little bit, in case there was any problems. Alright, so on to our next record. We have The Lamb by Genesis, a great story album. Just a little look at the inside sleeve. Yeah, this album is just a great, like a Broadway scene, which is what they kind of went for. Kind of like a another kind of rock opera. I honestly, one thing I have to say about the rock operas, though, you're gonna find probably at least one more of these on my top 10, just because I love this style of rock, where I love story. That's my thing. I'm a big story guy. I love movies, so anything that tells a story, it gets me going. You know what I mean? And this really tells a good story, kind of about fame. I'm not gonna pretend like I know exactly what this is about. I don't know if anybody does. I mean, there's probably millions of theories. but I mean, it's talks a lot about Broadway. Seems like it talks about religion and government too. But I mean, what concept album doesn't? Am I right? Yeah, Peter Gabriel's vocals on it are great. The one backing track with Phil Collins, he sounds great. Um, every kind of just everything on the album's pretty well done. Um, and if you've never listened to it, honestly, I'd say it's probably the best Genesis album. Um, I mean, I like the Phil Collins stuff a lot too. Um, but I really like prog rock, so that's kind of more where I lie on that. But I'd say definitely give it a listen, and that was my number 8. All right, now on to number 7. Muse's Black Hole and Revelations, which I believe came out in 2009. You know, that's a tight window. I'm not very good on release dates of albums. But this album, one of the few very good prog kind of concept-y albums that's come out in the past like 20 years. I'd say there hasn't been a lot very good for the rock opera genre, kind of. You start out with Take a Bow. Great song to start the album. Starlight, great, very poppy song. Supermassive Black Hole, you may know that from Twilight. It's a really good, harder, poppier kind of love song. Map of the Problematic, really good. Soldier's Poem, a little bit softer. Invincible, pretty good. I'd say it's probably one of the weaker songs on the album. Assassins, got good guitar. Exopolitics, great. City Delusion, pretty good. Hoodoo, pretty good. And Knights of Sidonia, I'd say honestly one of the greatest rock songs of all time, especially of the past 20 years. The Knights of Sidonia, I mean, honestly, every song on this album is very, very good, but I mean, everything is just, I don't know, it's overseen by Knights of Sidonia because I think it's so much better than every other song, even though every other song on this album is great. It's just nice. Knights of Sidonia is one of those songs that first time you hear it, if you never heard Muse before, you just, I gotta listen to Muse. I mean, these guys are insane. All right, then that's our number 7, I believe. I'm gonna go with 7. And next is an album from one of my favorite bands of all time, who sadly the singer passed away. It's 1,000 Suns by Linkin Park. Honestly, this album has a lot of sentimental value. It was always my favorite Linkin Park album, and then being as their first band I've ever saw in concert, yeah, it's just kind of got a lot of sentimental value, so that might be why putting it higher than some other records. But I really do love this record. It's more of it's kind of less rocky than some of their other albums, but it does not lack in great music. So you start with the Requiem and the Radiance, both kind of intro tracks to the album, and then you go Burning in the Skies, great song. I mean, it's just the whole band kind of pitches in that song, so it's really good. Empty Spaces, just another kind of I don't want to say filler track, but kind of a thing to progress the story more. When They Come For Me is a very good song. And then on the next side, you got Robot Boy. Great. Good piano, I believe, in that song. Jordana Del Morto is another kind of filler, progressing the story track. Waiting for the End, amazing. Then Blackout, a really hard song for them. Wretches and Kings, it's very, it's kind of like a hip-hop oriented, really heavy kind of like rock song, and it really makes you want to like sway back and forth, you know what I mean? For me, that kind of song. And you got Wisdom and Justice and Love, which is I think it's Roosevelt, his speech, I believe. Iridescent that was in third Transformers movie, Dark Side of the Moon, I believe. It's a really good song, really nice, softer song. Then you got Fallout, which is just another instrumental track. The Catalyst, pretty good. And then you got The Messenger, which is a really nice kind of more acoustic sounding song for the end of the album. And that wraps up my number 6. All right, number 5 for me is the White Album by the Beatles. This is a newer copy. I wish I had an older copy, but this is just a newer copy. Honestly, this was tough for me because I love the Beatles, and I wouldn't put them at number 5 if personally my favorite record by them is Rubber Soul, and that was really tough for me to put in a rock. It's a really good rock album too, but this just I feel like more rocks for the Beatles. It's their more iconic rock album because I'd say I like Let It Be and Rubber Soul more than this album, but this album is just it's a really good rock album. It's got a lot of songs on it that are all really, really great. You got Back in the USSR, perfect, great intro. I mean, iconic song. Dear Prudence, great. Glass Onion, The Walrus with Paul. Obla Di Bla Da, really, really good. I love that song. Really kind of gets you in a happier mood. Wild Honey Pie, pretty good. Continued Story of Bungalow Bill, love that song. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, one of the greatest rock songs of all time, according to some people. I really like it. Happiness is a Warm Gun, love the song. You got Martha My Dear, great. I'm So Tired, I'd say, is a lower point. It's a really good song, but it's just, compared to some of the other songs, it's not as good. Blackbird, kind of the same issue. I love the song, but it's just kind of, I don't like the birds in the background as much. It's kind of weird. Piggies, pretty good. Rocky Raccoon, pretty good. Don't Pass Me By, great. Love that song. Why Don't We Do It in the Road? Another kind of good song, but it's meh compared to some of the other songs on here. I Will, Julia, pretty good. Birthday, really good. Your Blues, don't like that one as much. I do like the blues, but I just don't like that one as much, I guess, compared to the other songs. Mother Nature Song, of course, a classic. Everybody's got something to hide except for me and my monkey. I love that song personally. Sexy Sadie, great song. You got Helter Skelter, great. Long, 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 pretty good. Revolution 1, the good version. I don't like the single version personally. I think this album version's way better. It's less like hard. They go less hard with the guitar in the Revolution 1, which is why I think it sounds a little bit better. Honey Pie, one of my favorite songs on this album. Savvy Truffle, pretty good. Cry Baby Cry, that's a really good song. Revolution 9, of course, is weird but good. Like I could listen to it once in a while just to, think about, I don't even know, think about what the Beatles were thinking, I guess. And then Good Night, one of Ringo's greatest tracks. So this is the White Album. Put that in my number 5 spot. On my list is going to be Blue Oyster Cult's Cultosaurus Rectus. With the great songs, Black Blade, Monsters, Divine Wind. Honestly, you could say every song on this album is very good. Hungry Boy is probably the weakest link on the album, I'd say. The album cover is really cool. It's got this kind of like sci-fi dinosaur. It's got a spaceship there. So Blue Oyster Cult has some pretty cool fucking covers. But personally, this is probably my favorite. I think it rocks the most out of all their albums. Probably. And it's sad because this album's very underlooked, or overlooked, sorry, not underlooked. It's kind of overlooked due to stuff like Agents of Fortune, which is only really, people only really think of Agents of Fortune because of Don't Fear the Reaper, which is kind of sad because I'd say most of these songs I like better than Don't Fear the Reaper. You got some really, really good songs. Deadline I love, Marshall Plan I love, Lips in the Hills I love, Unknown Tongue I love, even though it's kind of got that weird thing about a little girl and her nipples. It's really fucking weird, that part. But I guess it was the I guess 1980s when this was. But yeah, I just hit myself in the face with it, so that's cool. But this is going to be one of my top records. Really love it. If you never listened to it before, or haven't listened to a lot of Blue Oyster Cult, Definitely recommend. They're probably one of my favorite bands of all time, other than probably a band you're probably about to see. So I'll keep that a little bit of secret. All right, my number 3 here is Captain Beyond's Sufficiently Breathless. A really, really, really underrated band. If you've never heard of them, you got a really cool, psyche looking album cover here. I mean, personally, I love their first album, their self-titled Captain Beyond, but I don't think it compares to this album. You got very, 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 very good songs. Starting with Sufficiently Breathless, which it does say Bright Blue Tango here, but that's not the first song on the album. Which, I mean, honestly, that's a great song. Very, very nice on the ears. And then you got Bright Blue Tango, really good. Fits in the album really well. Drifting in Space, very good. This album's kind of beat up. It's kind of sad because I do love this, but I mean, honestly, if I'm gonna listen to anything, might as well. I mean, it sounds good, but might as well beat it to hell if I'm gonna listen to it multiple times. Starglow Energy, great. Distant Sun, great. Voyages of Past Travelers, everything's a Circle, also very good. Nice thing about this album is it flows very well together, I believe. And nice thing about Captain Beyond is they're some of the greatest, just like psych song title makers, I should say. They just know, especially their first album. But I mean, if you look at them, you could just make an album out of all their songs, and it could be a whole prog concept psych album, and you'd be fine just from a title of one of their songs. All right, and that was number 3. Number 2, we're going to one of my favorite artists of all time, the Alan Parsons Project, with the album I, Robot. Great, great concept album. It's also got a beautiful ass cover. I love it. I honestly, first time I listened to him was just because of the cover. Well, actually, the reason I bought this record, this one here, actually, is because of the cover. Yeah. I never listened to him before. Listened to him, loved him. I mean, Beatles, Pink Floyd. He worked on all that. Ambrosia. He's just a great. I mean, him and Eric Wolfson together worked great. I also have a copy of this. Incidentally enough, one signed by Alan Parsons. Pretty cool. Songs on this, I, Robot, great instrumental, love it. I mean, honestly, every time I listen to it, it makes me want to move my feet a little bit. I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You, a great kind of like, very, kind of getting to like the disco. Some Other Time, I love, whoever sings that song, I love. Breakdown, love that song. Don't Let It Show, another great song. The Voice, great. Nucleus, great. Day After Day, The Show Must Go On, great. Total Eclipse, great. And Genesis Chapter 1, Volume 32, great. This whole fucking album is perfect. I can't stress that enough. This album is one of those albums, if you've never listened to it before and you just love music, this is honestly one of the greatest albums. And compared to some of his other stuff, like personally, I love songs like Eye in the Sky, Serious, and Psychobabble, but I think Eye in the Sky is kind of an overrated album. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not, but just compared to like this is a lot cleaner. A lot of his other records I think are cleaner than Eye in the Sky, but that's just what I'm saying. And now let's get into honorable mentions here. Honorable mention, Animals by Pink Floyd. I love this album. I think it's perfect the whole way through. The reason I didn't put it on my top 10 is just because I got into Pink Floyd about probably a year ago, so I don't want to say, hey, this is my favorite album. I've only been listening to it a year. Then we have Styx, The Mission. Another reason I didn't put this, I do think I like the Grand Illusion better than this song. Um, but also, it's kind of hard with this one because I do love this, but it only came out 2 years ago, so it's kind of hard to say, hey, this is one of my top 10, but I've only been able to listen to it for 2 years. Um, whole album, Overture, great. Gone, 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 great. 100 Million Miles from Home, great. Trouble at the Big Show, kind of like weird for the album, but it works. It works. It really works. Locomotive and Radio Silence. I'm gonna kind of pair those two songs together. I can listen to those two songs on infinite repeat, going at one after the other. I love those two songs. They're so good. The Greater Good, great. Time May Bend, great. 10,000 Ways, great. Red Storm, great. All Systems Stable, great. Kadive or Kadiv, I don't know how you say it. Whoever the jeez, I forget his name. It's probably somewhere on here. No, it's actually not. Fuck. He is amazing. If you're thinking, oh man, Sticks aren't what they used to be, and you've never listened to this album, listen to it. This can rival all of their albums, honestly. I mean, it may not beat all of them, but it's up there. Really, it's great. And I don't know, the new people who say, hey, Sticks can't make music anymore, they're stupid. Next album, Wake the Flood by Grateful Dead. This is another band where I love this album a lot. I'm really into it right now. But I've only started recently listening to Grateful Dead, so I can't say, hey, this is fucking amazing. This is one of the greatest albums. I mean, I haven't even listened to all of Grateful Dead's discography. My next one's going to be Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. Great. Very... I don't know. It's kind of proggy. It kind of seems like anthemy. You know what I mean? Very, very good. My last honorable mention is Into the Outdoor. I have an original here, and I also have a newer version of the Page remasters. My personal favorite Led Zeppelin album, so I figured I'd put it in there. Honestly, I love that album. I know a lot of people don't like that as much, but personally, it's one of my favorite. All right, and that was my honorable mentions. On to my number one record. I do have multiple versions of this, so I'll pull out my normal version. I'll just pull out the newer one. Tommy the Who. I personally, this is one of the first vinyl I ever got. I fucking love this. I didn't. When I first would listen to it on Spotify, when I first got into the Who, I didn't like it as much. But honestly, when I just sit down, it may be something about the vinyl too. It just makes you love it so much more, appreciate it so much more. It's a great story. I know people are a little weird on the concept, but I really like it. Then, I mean, songs like Overture, Good Star, It's a Boy, good. 1921, great. Amazing Journey, good. Sparks, good. Then you got Christmas, one of my favorites. The Acid Queen, great. Do You Think It's All Right is pretty good. Fiddle About is kind of weird, but it's still good, I'd say. Pinball Wizard, great. Of course, that's the most popular on this album. I mean, honestly, go down the list. I love every song. Tommy's Holiday Camp, I know it's kind of weird because it's kind of whatever Keith Moon wanted, but it's still good. I believe either late 70s or 80s copy of repressing here. I also have the live version of Royal Albert Hall, which is still pretty good. It's kind of like a harder version of it. Of course, Roger Daltrey's voice isn't all there anymore, but Pete Townsend is all there. And then this is a London Symphony Orchestra version of it, which is honestly really cool. And if you look at the case, it's got like a pinball machine on it. Really, really cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't prepared to find this at all. I've never even seen this before. Then And I looked at it and I was like, holy crap, did that say Tommy on the side? And I mean, this, I would say, is kind of like a weirder, more obscure version, with Ringo singing Fiddle About. It honestly is really creepy. That I love Ringo, but yeah, it's really creepy. But yeah, that's my top 10 favorite records of all time. Or not favorite records, favorite rock records. I think I'll go over them one more time, just to go. Started with, let's start with The Grand Illusion. We started with Wizards and Demons, Grand Illusion, The Lamb, Black Holes and Revelations, A Thousand Suns, The White Album, for the Beatles, Cultosaurus Erectus, Sufficiently Breathless, iRobot, and of course, Tommy. Alright, you guys have a great rest of your day. Keep on spinning your vinyls, and have a great day.